So let's talk about corporate loyalty. Is it even worth it anymore? It's a question a lot of us are wrestling with in 2026. We've all seen it happen, right? Colleagues who've poured decades of their lives into one company only to be let go in an instant. Okay, we're going to get into this because the real answer is probably not what you're thinking. And this quote right here, this is the key to the whole thing. This isn't about being bitter or jaded. Nope. This is about getting crystal clear on how the system actually works. And I promise you, understanding this one little distinction could totally change how you look at every career move you make from this day forward. All right, I want you to just look at this number, 31. Think about that for a second. 31 years of your life dedicated to something. Now look at this one, 11. 31 years of work gone in 11 minutes. That whiplash, that shocking contrast, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So, what's the story behind these numbers? Well, they're not just numbers. They're part of a very real story about a man the author calls Martin. And his story kicks off, like they so often do, on a totally normal Thursday afternoon.
I mean, just look at the scale of Martin's commitment here. For 31 years, this guy was the definition of a model employee. He built teams, he consistently delivered results, he weathered 4 different CEOs, 2 major recessions. He was a rock. But then, one Thursday, poof, his role was made redundant. He was given 48 hours to clear out his desk, and that meeting, the one that ended a 3-decade career, lasted, as he timed it later, exactly 11 minutes. Stories like Martin's, they're just getting more and more common, aren't they? And it's not just a string of bad luck. It's because a fundamental agreement, this kind of unwritten contract that used to exist between employers and employees, is completely broken. And this right here is the heart of the matter. The old contract, it was pretty simple. You give us your unwavering loyalty for your entire career, and we'll give you lifelong security. Now, was that ever really true? Debatable. But for a long, long time, it was a story both sides agreed to tell each other. But the new reality? It's transactional. You give us your valuable skills for right now, and we give you a current opportunity for right now. That whole lifelong promise, it's just gone. And this is such a critical point. The source is really clear here. This isn't about blaming companies for suddenly becoming more cruel or heartless. It's about understanding that they're operating exactly as they were designed to. They are systems built and optimized for one main thing: shareholder return and survival. And you know what? Loyalty isn't a line item on the balance sheet, but headcount, that sure is.
So naturally, when something like Martin's Thursday happens to you, it feels almost impossible not to take it personally. But the author says this is a category error. We're mistaking a structural decision, just a cold calculation of cost versus requirement, for some kind of personal judgment on our value as a human being. The company isn't being disloyal to you. The truth is, it's incapable of loyalty in the first place. And realizing that isn't being cynical, it's being strategic.
Okay, so if the old rules are dead and being loyal to a company is basically a myth, where in the world does that leave us? Well, let's talk about the new rules. Let's see how we can build a much more resilient career. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we can't be loyal to our company, is there any point in being loyal at all? And the answer is a resounding yes, absolutely. But, and this is a big but, we have to completely change what, or maybe who, we are loyal to. And here it is. Here's the new framework. It's all about redirecting that powerful sense of loyalty away from some abstract building or logo and pointing it towards 3 things you actually own. 3 things you can take with you no matter what: your craft, your relationships, and your own personal standards. First up, be loyal to your craft. The quality of your work, the skills you hone, the expertise you build, that is the one professional asset that no one can ever take from you. It's the one thing that can't be made redundant. It follows you from job to job, from project to project, and it just grows in value over your entire career. Number 2, be loyal to people. Not titles, not companies, but actual people. You know who I'm talking about. The mentor who gave you that piece of advice that changed everything. The colleague who had your back when a project was going completely off the rails. These are the relationships that make up your real network, and they will be there long after any company you worked for is gone. And finally, be loyal to your own standards. This is all about the integrity you bring to your work, especially when nobody's watching. It's that decision to do it the right way, even when the fast way was an option. Your personal standards, that's the only kind of institutional memory that is 100% yours to keep. Now, this all brings us to what the source calls the most dangerous pitfall of all this, misplaced loyalty, and that is the identity trap. This is what happens when your professional role completely merges with your personal identity. You stop being a person who works at a company and you start becoming that company's person. Your sense of self-worth gets all tangled up in your performance reviews. The company's wins feel like your personal wins, and its losses, well, they feel like your personal failures. And that's not just commitment. That is a really dangerous fusion. So let's just pause on this for a beat. I want you to really honestly ask yourself this question. If the place you work just vanished overnight, how much of you would still be there? If that question makes you even a little bit uncomfortable, it's a pretty good sign that the real work you need to do is personal, not just professional.
So how do we tie all this together? Well, the source leaves us with one last really powerful metaphor to help guide our thinking. It's all about understanding the difference between the container and the content.
Here's the final game plan. Show up. Show up fully. Do amazing work you're proud of. Really invest in the people around you. Give it your all. But, and this is the absolute key, do it all while keeping the correct emotional distance. Do it all without needing the organization to love you back. Because frankly, it can't. And this quote right here, this is the idea that ties it all together. Your company, it's just the container. It's temporary. It's a box. Your work, your skills, your relationships, your standards, that is the content. And the content is what actually matters. And at the end of the day, that's the ultimate takeaway. Your career, your value, your real identity, that's the content you're creating every single day. The company is just the temporary box you happen to be creating it in right now. And maybe the single most powerful thing you can do for your entire career is to never, ever confuse the two.